For those that want to stay asleep, there's not much we can do for them anyway. Let me get this real quick. Where's those guys sitting around and let's see, let me see if I can find it. Okay, again, this is who they worshiping on Sunday. There he is right there. This is who the witches are worshiping on Sunday. There he is. And that's who Christians are ignorantly worshiping, without the knowledge to understand what it's really about. Every Sunday, this goes on in California. Now, I don't know what's going on in this circle right here. If you have children, cover their eyes. You have some people sitting around butt naked on a Sunday in a circle dealing with what? Some straight madness. Look, this is what goes on. While you in church singing, you got these guys sitting on a rock butt naked. Where the kid at? They probably got a kid somewhere around. With uncircumcised penises sitting around here with their women. No telling what type of sexual rituals they're dealing with. This is Sunday for you. Well, you be like, well, I don't do it for that. It's the same God. And we're going to prove it. It's the same God. Get Ezekiel 8 and 14 real quick. Ezekiel 8 and 14. Read that.
Ezekiel 8 and 14. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was toward the north. And behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz.
There sit women weeping for Tammuz. That's women crying in the church. That Tammuz was worshipped on a Sunday. That's where you get your T from. Your cross. When you're putting that cross around your neck, it don't represent Christ's crucifixion. It represents Tammuz himself. That's a God you're worshiping. Read it again.
He said, Ezekiel 8 and 14. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was toward the north. And behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz.
There sat women weeping for Tammuz. Tammuz is what you would call an incarnate child. The incarnate son born in the earth under Semiramis, the virgin child Tammuz. The 40 days of crying is the 40 days of Lent you see in the Catholic Church today. It's also the 40 days dealt with when the Muslims deal with Ramadan. So even though all these different religions call them a different name and all that, they all worshiping Satan and are dealing with the same rituals. There's no difference between the Christians and the Muslims' God. They're all the same. Now there's more. When it comes to Tammuz, let me get it out of here. Who is Tammuz? Read it.
Verse 16. And he brought me into the court of the Lord's house. And behold, at the door of the temple, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men, with their backs toward the temple of the Lord, and their faces toward the east. And they worship the sun toward the east.
They worship the what?
And they worship the sun toward the east.
They worship the sun towards the east, the S-U-N, to let you know that this was an abomination that the Most High said we shouldn't deal with. That was a blatant abomination, that they worship the sun towards the east. Read it again. Chapter and verse.
Ezekiel 8 and 16. And he brought me into the court of the Lord's house. And behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men, with their backs toward the temple of the Lord, and their faces toward the east.
And their faces toward the east. And they did what?
And they worshiped the sun toward the east.
They worshiped the sun towards the east. So these people are not facing the temple. They're worshiping the sun. The S-U-N. Same thing that's going on in Christian churches today. They have no idea why they're there on Sundays. And it's deceit. That's why it says the ministers are ministers of deceit. Nowhere in the Bible does it say be in the church on Sunday. But yet they'll try to use scriptures to excuse their followers worshiping on a Sunday. We're going to show you that's evil in itself. Not only is the Bible against this sun worship, they try to use the Bible to lock their followers into believing it's right. That's deceit. And I'm going to go through all the scriptures that Christians use to try to excuse the fact that they worship on a Sunday. The same day pagans were worshiping on. The same day that the Greeks and Romans were worshiping on. The same day that witches and warlocks worship on. Okay? Let me read this here. Okay? I'm in the two Babylons. I'm on page 21 and it reads, the original of that mother so widely worshipped, talking about it's Mary now, but it was Semiramis in the past, or Diana, which is the same idol you see, the Statue of Liberty. It says the original of that mother so widely worshipped, there's reason to believe was Semiramis, already referred to, who it is well known was worshipped by the Babylonians and other eastern nations, and that under the name of Rhea, the great goddess mother. It was from the sun, however, that she derived all her glory and her claims to deification. The son, through represented as a child in his mother's arms, was a person of great stature and immense bodily powers, as well as most fascinating matters. In Scripture, he is referred to in Ezekiel the 8th chapter and the 14th verse under the name of Tammuz. But he is commonly known among classical writers under the name of Bacchus. Bacchus was a god worshipped every Sunday under the Roman and Greek Empire. And you would let the women in the church, and the women, you would play music, and the women would dance naked in the temples for the god Bacchus. Now they switched it from the heart to your organs and all that, and now your women are weeping and crying with their clothes halfway hanging out based on the same rituals of ancient Rome and ancient Babylon.
They also have the Bacchus parade for Mardi Gras in New Orleans.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that same parade goes on, not only it goes on in Rio, it goes on in parts of Europe. They even do it in parts of Africa too. But it's prominent here every year in Louisiana. Okay? What is it called again?
It's Mardi Gras parade, but
it's the Mardi Gras parade.
Right, but within Mardi Gras there are different parades. It's
Exactly.
not just one, but Bacchus is one.
Bacchus is one of the gods being worshipped.
And the whole thing about Mardi Gras is the time that you're supposed to, it's called Fat Tuesday. So
Yeah.
you're supposed to be gluttonous and drink and do all this stuff.
And just deal with your insatiable lust.
40 days, before Lent. 40 days before Lent.
Exactly. So you get all your sin out before Lent.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that's why the Pope and all the religious institutions back this particular ritual. It's wicked. All right? Now, that's the Bacchus ritual. Now, let's go into the Sunday worship. Because this is what a Christian would tell you. Well, I don't know why they worship Sunday. But I worship Sunday because Christ rose on a Sunday. Okay?
Where's that?
He died on Good Friday and he rose on Sunday. That's what they teach. Is that so? Let's see. All right. Let's go to Matthew 12 and 40. Follow us. Matthew 12 and 40.